Welcome, fellow travelers, to the Hopeless Stream once again. Tonight we are playing Intruder from 1980, designed by Denis Soster. And Intruder is one of the early so-called microgames. And this is a type of game that was popularized in the late 1970s and up through the 1980s. And they were, as the name suggests, games that were so small that you could sort of fold them together and keep them in your pocket, or they usually came in little Ziploc bags with a folded map and a sheet of dice cut counters, and then you'd supply your own dice if needed. So they were sort of low price point, easy to carry around, and there's a whole bunch of them made back then. Intruder kind of sits in that whole genre of microgames. And as I said, it came out in 1980. It has a cover which looks like this, very pulpy, very alien-esque, because Intruder, of course, is just a thinly disguised version of Alien, the movie from 1979. And this is a game about a spaceship that has picked up an alien life form, and that alien life form has turned out to be hostile, and now it's trying to pick out the crew one by one to kill them off. Intruder was an attempt at sort of taking the core drama of the Alien movie and turn it into a game. And it does so in a very bare bones, but still interesting fashion. And I'm going to be talking about this as we play the game, and probably also after we finish playing the game. I'm going to try to pick up on this a little bit. But it's quite ingenious, and it's quite instructive, I think, in the way that instructive in letting us know how games were designed back then. Like, how do you actually adapt a movie to a game, and how did people go about that in 1980? It's quite interesting. The spaceship Prometheus has traveled far into the outer reaches of space, and it has picked up various alien life forms along its journey, but it has picked up maybe one life form too many. And that life form was taken aboard. It was like a small crab-like little creature, innocent looking, nothing to worry about. They took it aboard the spaceship and they put it in here in the lab, put it in one of the cages. Everything was fine. And one day, one of the scientists went into the lab and opened the cage to feed the crab-like creature, and it jumped at her, and it face-hugged her, and it put tentacles down her throat, and it tore her open from the inside out. And right next to her, Dr. Baxter was standing there, and he just dropped the vial in his hand, which splintered on the floor, and all this sort of poisonous greenish fumes start filling the room while he was just staring in horror at this creature who is now tearing off the face of his colleague. And it just dropped to the floor, and the body went limp, and the creature just scuttled out under one of the doors and was gone. And Baxter was standing there, sort of half dizzy from the fumes and the vial that he just dropped on the floor, and also, of course, from the still pulsating blood coming out of the open throat of his colleague on the floor. So, as you can see, we're starting in this sort of very pulp-like atmosphere. There is blood all over, there's an alien, there is death. Basically, if we are considering this game as a reenactment of the Alien movie, we're already like an hour into the movie at this point. Everything else is just backstory. This is a game that goes right to the chase, and it wants to show the confrontation between the alien and the humans aboard the ship. So that is what we're going to be playing. And as you can see, the ship, it has this sort of I don't know, tripod-like layout with the command module in the center, corridors down on the 3 different sides. Out here we have the 2 shuttle docks, which we may kind of need if we need to escape from the ship, if we have trouble defeating the alien. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I'm sure we can handle it. It's just a small, innocent-looking crab-like thing, and it'll never grow any bigger than it already is. I'm absolutely sure. Up here we have the main airlock used for docking other ships. There are no other ships around, I can tell you already. We are alone in space. So we'll have to figure this one out on our own. And then we have our crew stationed around the Prometheus. And we have here in the center Commander Radetsky. He's at the command module. And the sergeant under Radetsky is Sergeant Wee, who is over here in the mess hall eating a well-deserved meal while this horrible incident in the labs takes place, which he'll know about in just a few seconds. And then over here in the infirmary, we have Dr. Ellen, and she is basically in the sick bay there. We have picked up various animals, creatures that are more animal-like, which are sort of not hostile, and we also have test animals with us from back home. And one of those animals, I think it's a cat, has gotten sort of a wound on its leg. We don't quite know what it's from. It's like, it looks like a bite wound or something, but who knows? I'm sure it wasn't because it came too close to the cage in the lab and the crab-like creature just bit a piece out of its leg. So whatever it is, it's in the infirmary, and Dr. Ellen, she is trying to dress the wound, and the cat is currently sedated. And her colleague, Dr. Baxter, is standing in the lab, as we just described, looking down at the corpse of his colleague. Dr. Hart is lying dead on the floor in the lab, and Dr. Baxter is standing there, still in shock. Adrenaline is slowly kicking in, and soon he'll be moving into action. Now, beyond them, we also have two engineers aboard the ship. Those are sort of the real space truckers from the Alien movie. Down here, we have Midnight. He's in the living quarters. He's just in his bunk, you know. He's got his feet up. He's got his AirPods in. He is just perhaps listening to some music or to a message from home. He's just chilling, doesn't really know what's going on. And up here in the power room, we have Laser, his colleague, and he's fiddling around with the power. And he's actually the one that noticed that something is off down in the lab because an alarm goes off, and he checks to see the security cam. And as soon as that sort of artificial eye just looks into the lab, he just sees blood, he sees a corpse, he sees Baxter, he sees greenish fumes, and perhaps he even just sees like just the one glimpse of this crab-like creature that just scuttles out of the lab. And then immediately he hits the big button and the alarm goes off all across the ship. We've got an infestation. We've got an unidentified creature moving around our ship. We got to do something about it. And this is where the game starts. And our mission in this game is to try to kill off that creature. But since this is a very thinly disguised version of the Alien movie, we're actually not allowed to kill the creature in the beginning of the game. Because, you know, for the purposes of science, we are interested in learning more about this creature, and so we cannot just kill it. So we should really just try to capture it and put it back in its cage, and then just be careful the next time we open the cage. Let's not, you know, fiddle around with it anymore. Just, you know, keep it in its cage. So we're out here trying to collect it. And I can already now say that Dr. Baxter and Dr. Ellen, they are totally not gonna be killing this creature. In fact, they're not allowed to kill the creature. They will always try to somehow capture it, even if it suddenly is no longer a small, tiny, crab-like, innocent creature. But if it grows larger, we can end up in a situation where Commander Radetsky, he gives the order to say, okay, just take it out, kill it off. And that's when we can bring out the big guns. As you see here, we have an arms room where we have gas canisters, we have blasters, and we have sleep darts. We also have a maintenance room up here where we can manufacture heavy flamers and we can manufacture electric prods. So these are all instruments that we can use in our attempt to rid our spaceship of this creature. All right. So, as always, I'm just going to start playing, and you will figure out the rules as we move along. I'll be rolling quite a few dice, and don't worry too much about it. And if you have any questions or anything that's unclear or a specific rule that you would actually like to know, you're very welcome to ask me in chat, and I'll do my best to explain it. But right now, all you need to know is basically that all these black cubes around the board, they represent noise, you might say. Some kind of, there's a blip on our scanner, there's a noise that you hear through a door, there is maybe a shadow moving you see on a security camera, something may be there. So those are things that we can check out. And one of those things here is the alien, but we don't know which, and they are moving around. So what we're trying to do is basically trying to go out and find the alien. Again, try to put your minds in the frame of the Alien movie, those early scenes. Like, we just had the breakfast scene, right? We just had like the chest bursting scene, and now the alien is loose, and we started going out with like flashlights and trying to look for it and hope that we can just like pick it up with a pincer and put it back in its cave. We're at kind of the naive stage right now, but things will get more severe later. I should also say that I'm playing with just 6 crew members. The original setup is 9 crew members, but I feel that gets a little too cluttered. So I kind of cut down on crew members, and the rules are also not always super clear. So if you are playing this game yourself or have in the past and you feel that I'm playing it slightly differently, it's probably just because I'm interpreting the rules a little differently, or maybe I tweaked a thing or two here or there, because they're just really unanswered questions. And I can see to this day on Board Game Geek that people are still discussing rules for this game, and no one has really come up with an authoritative answer. So as always, you just play along. And since it's the Alien movie, I have the rule tonight that whatever happens in the Alien movie, that just trumps all rules in this game. So if something is cinematic and alien-like, it's gonna happen, regardless of whatever rules would normally apply. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to start moving all those signs of life or movement of whatever it is around the ship. And we're just going to start from one end. As you can see, there's little numbers in the rooms, and I roll a die and it tells me where to go. So here in the storage, on a 5 or 6, it stays in storage. This one also stays in its storage. Here we have the access shaft, and this one creeps in here. So now there are 2 kind of signs of life from the storage room. Over here in the other access shaft, it climbs in here to that storage room, and the one that was already in there just stays there. So there's another double down there. Oops, here we go. And this one, whatever it is, runs into the corridor, and this creature here stays in the access shaft. Or creature, that's maybe saying a little too much, but whatever it is stays in the access shaft, and something else moves into the access shaft, or at least it sounds like something else does, but we of course don't know, and that one stays here. Mifocus says, these old games were always open to interpretation. It's very true, and one of the things that I really like about these old games is that very often they have suggestions for other ways to play them, and that is also true of Intruder. There are 3 different ways that you can play the game beyond the way that I'm playing it right now. So you can play it as an opposed game where one player plays the alien and the other player plays the crew, or you can play it as a sort of more like actually what would only happen in the Aliens movie in 1986, so way after this game, but where the crew has basically left the station, or they have been killed off or whatever, and you're playing the Marines that are sent in to sort of cleanse the ship of aliens, more Space Hulk-like vibe. Or you can play in a more movie-like version with 2 players, where one player plays as the scientists who are trying to keep the alien alive, and the other player is playing as the rest of the crew who are trying to kill off the creature, to get that tension into the game. Because of course, a big part of the Alien movie is the scientist who is trying to keep the creature alive for research purposes. So we have a little bit of that tension built in here. At least the scientists cannot really kill the creature. So stuff is just moving around, and we can now move our crew around. So I'm pretty sure that Dr. Baxter is in absolute shock and will just run straight back into the command module where Commander Radetsky is waiting and explaining the situation and just, telling him Dr. Hart is dead. The creature just jumped out of the cage. It went at her throat. She's dead. She's dead. She's dead. It's out there. We gotta find it. We gotta find it. We gotta get it back in its cage. And Radetsky has already heard the alarm go off because Laser, he set it up there in the power room. And Midnight, he's kind of just lying in his bunk. And I think the sound of the alarm is kind of interfering with the music that he's listening to. And he's getting a little annoyed that there is this like siren-like thing that's cutting into his beat. So he lifts off one of his headphones, and then he hears the alarm, but he also hears some kind of scratching noise at his door. What is that? So he gets out of his bunk, and he just wanders into the corridor to check out that sound. Down here, we have Dr. Ellen, and she hears the alarm. So she wanders into the corridor, wondering what's going on, and she sees like what she thinks is a shadow in the storage room. And she thinks, oh, maybe, is one of the other crew members in there. So I'm just going to go in there and ask, what's up? Like, what's all this alarm stuff about? Now, Sergeant Wee is really annoyed. He just, taken a second helping of food onto his plate. He was just ready to sort of really eat himself into a stupor so he could have a long, nice sleep after his meal. But now this alarm goes off and he has to react. So he steps out into the corridor, looks around, and doesn't really see anything. So he also, I think, goes into the command module to Commander Radetsky and say, hey, what's up? What's up with this? Over here, we have Laser, who he, of course, sounded the alarm. He walks into the corridor and, he saw this just very quickly. He saw this creature just scuttle along the floor. So he kind of knows what's out there, and he knows that Dr. Hart is dead. So he is already on the lookout, and there's definitely something moving in the storage. So he immediately sees a opportunity to be the hero of the day. So he just bursts straight into the storage room to check out what's going on there. All right. Now, again, if you were playing the sort of vanilla real version of this game, I would have little counters moving around here, which would be face down. But since their backside is white, it's really, really hard to see on screen. That's why I replaced them with these black counters. And then instead, I took all the white counters, the hidden counters, and I put them in this little bag. So every time I now have to check out where one of these black cubes are, I'm just going to draw from the bag and find out. So up here, what is Laser finding in the storage room across the corridor? Look at this, guys. Can you see it? Can we focus? We cannot focus. It's okay. This is an alien, or the alien, I should say, and a dummy counter. So one thing was nothing, but we have actually already discovered the alien. It's up here in storage, and it's sitting on top of a crate, and it's this tiny little crab-like thing, and it's just staring right down at Laser, who just stops in his tracks, and he looks up at it. Meanwhile, in the other storage room where Dr. Ellen thought she saw one of her colleagues move around, just gonna, place these two over here. What was down there? Well, it was nothing. It was just a shadow. It was probably just a door closing or something. It wasn't really anything. So, no luck there. Well, wonder what that alarm's all about. And at the same time, Midnight, he just stumbled, sort of half dazed, into his corridor, really annoyed with his alarm, not afraid, not disturbed, just just really annoyed. Somebody turn off that. I'm listening to music here. And out in the hallway, there is also nothing. So whatever it was that was scratching at his door, you know, maybe it was just the hull of the ship creaking. They sometimes do that, and they have this sort of high-pitched creaking noise. And it's, yeah, it can really get to you, like nails down a blackboard, that kind of sound. So, this is the situation right now. And of course, of immediate concern is the meeting between Laser and the creature. So first what we're going to do is we're going to check if the creature is going to try to attack Laser. And as you can see on this chart up here, the creature have different life stages. Right now it's in life stage 1, and then it can grow through more life stages. And in its first life stage, it only attacks the crew on a roll of a 1 or 2 on a 6-sided die. But before we get to that, we need to figure out which powers this creature has. What is this for a kind of creature? And as you can see up here, there are multiple different powers that the creature can have. And right now it has 2 unknown powers represented by these 2 red chits. So I'm going to roll a couple of powers for the creature. Let's find out who this whatever is. So it is very fast. It is very fast. That already means that now everything moves at double speed. So all these black cubes you see and the creature is going to move around at double speed. So, okay, as fast as hell. We kind of already knew that because within what seems like seconds, it has moved from the lab and up here to that storage room. So yeah, I believe you when you say it's fast. And then also, oh my goodness, guys, we are in for a ride because this creature has clones. This creature is not alone. It has already spawned other creatures. And right now, it is just 1. But as it's grow in size, more creatures will start showing up. So just as a reminder, I think I'm going to put a second creature marker over here in the clone table to show us that more creatures are about to come out. So, all right, Laser is facing off against this super fast, scuttling little creature. And one of the reasons that it was just in the lab and now it's just there, maybe it already gives Laser this sort of intuitive idea that are there multiples? I mean, how could it move so fast? How fast is this creature? Is it the same? Or is there another one? And he's already kind of looking at, like, can you see any of Dr. Hart's blood on the claws of this creature, or that little tentacle that's like playing around the side of its mouth? And as he stands there looking at it, the creature decides not to attack. It kind of backs off and just stares at him. And that does give Laser a chance to react against the creature. There's not much he can do. So basically, all he can do is that he can sort of take an iron pipe from behind the door and just throw it at the creature, trying to sort of get it to run away. And he does that. He actually manages, he hits the creature with the iron bar and it scuttles off. But it doesn't scuttle out of the room, it just runs behind one of the crates and disappears from the sight of Laser. All right, so we have moved, the creature have moved. One thing we have forgotten to do, which we should always remember to do, is to roll for metamorphosis. And the metamorphosis roll is again on a 6-sided die, and if we roll a 6, or right now a 5 or a 6, as you can see on this table, the creature metamorphoses into something larger with more powers, but it doesn't this turn around. So that was a full turn of Intruder, and this is how the game is going to play. We're going to rinse and repeat, and then there's some other wrinkles that will show up as we play along, but basically we are playing cat and mouse with the creature. And you'll already see now, I think, what happens when we move into the next turn and how this game sort of organically evolves. Because now, again, the intruder moves, which means that all these noise cubes also moves. So let's take the one up here, and remember everything moves at double speed now because the creature is very fast. So this one doesn't move, and then it moves in here. The creature moves here, and then it moves into the command module. Straight into the command module. Okay, this is very aggressive. We're gonna have a great scene right now, I think. Then we have the other things. Move around. This one, something is moving in the access shaft, and something is moving into this access shaft, which is very popular. And over here, we have something is creeping into the corridor, and this other one, it just stays back in the shaft. So there's something moving around in the shafts, or at least sounds in the shaft, but the main focus of our attention right now is the creature, just this tiny little aggressive creature with fangs and claws, just runs into the command module and looks up. Commander Radetsky, Sergeant Wee, Dr. Ellen just stares at them, and everyone's kind of in a panic, but also at the same time, like this little thing, can we not just step on it? And Dr. Ellen is, no, don't step on it. We gotta keep it alive. It's the most perfect organism I've ever seen. But let's find out first if the creature decides to attack. It does not. It's still just checking out its opponents, I think. It's not really doing anything. And again, all we can really try to do then is just try to scare it off. So I think that Dr. Ellen goes close to it, approaches it like she would her pet cat, and just trying to come closer, come here, and just, yeah, somehow trying to grab a hold of it, but it doesn't really succeed. She doesn't succeed, and it just runs over here, and then Sergeant Wee, he just takes his big boot and he just kicks out. He kicks out at it, and he totally misses it, and it runs off, and it disappears down this corridor, where it, of course, turns into a black cube and goes back in our little bag. So now again, we don't know where the creature is, but it's one of these black cubes. So we've already seen the creature. So far, it hasn't appeared hostile. I think it's lightning fast, but it seems like it's more interested in getting away from us than in confronting us. But of course, Dr. Baxter has seen what it can actually do. So the plan right now will probably be to get hold of one of these cages down in the lab and then try to go out and find it and see if we can get it back in the cage. And maybe also go in and grab a dart pistol, so we can, because it's so fast, if we can just give it a sleeping dart, it's going to be easier to handle. There is also the possibility to go up into the maintenance area and try to develop some kind of improvised electrical prod. Dr. Ellen is not super happy about that approach, but I'm pretty sure that Midnight and Laser, they're like, screw these scientists, man. This creature, I'm not going to go anywhere near it. It's aggressive as hell. Let's just make up some kind of electrical rod and just electrocute it right then and there. So we're already feeling tension building between the engineers or the workers and the scientist. And still, of course, Commander Radetsky is in charge, so no one kills this creature. Like, either you catch it or you let it run. Just don't off it. So here in our movement phase, I think that Ellen is gonna go down here to grab hold of this cage, but there's something in the corridor. So we'll see if she meets something on her way back to the lab to pick up the cage. And coming from the other end of this corridor, we have Midnight, who still doesn't really know what's going on, but he's wandering into this situation, whatever it is, from the opposite side. And then up here, we have Laser, who is like, you know what? I'm going to go to maintenance and I'm going to built something to electrocute this thing. This is too fast to catch otherwise. So he goes down here, but also just outside maintenance, he comes across something, maybe. Radetsky stays on the bridge, and he tells we, go in and pick up one of those sleeping darts. So from the command module, he can open the door into the freezer, the computer room, and the arms room. So he opens the door into the arms room, and we have our Sergeant Wee go in here. He picks up the dart, and he goes back outside, waiting for more orders. And while the crew is moving around the Prometheus like this, we will see if the creature grows. And it does not. It's just still small and fast and scuttling around. But where is it? Is it up here? What is it actually that Laser encounters up there? Let's see. It's a cat. It's one of the cats. It's Dr. Ellen's pet cat, I think. It's Jones from the Aliens movie, of course. That's right up there. And down here, Dr. Ellen and Midnight, well, there's another cat and a dog as well. So who let that dog out? I wonder. And I think looking at the security footage from the command module, Commander Radetsky actually sees, he doesn't really see the creature. There's something flickering across the screen, but then he just sees that someone presses the button, so these electrical cages, the doors just swing open and the animals wander out into the ship. So right now, we actually have laboratory animals walking around the ship, which is making it more difficult for us to find the intruder because they are also making noise. So if we can capture these animals and put them back in their cages, it means that there is less noise when we're trying to find the intruder. So this is actually something that we really like to do. So certainly Dr. Ellen, she is going to try to pick up, it's not her cat, it's a different cat, but she's going to try to pick it up anyway. So she bows down and she kitty, 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 but it's scared. It's acting weird. Its eyes are big and its hairs are on end, and it will not get close to Dr. Ellen. She cannot capture it. And she says, "Hey, Midnight, help me. Like, capture this. I'm gonna try to shoo the cat over to you, and then you grab it." And Midnight, he just bows down and he takes like his big hand and he sweeps it under the stomach of the cat and he just picks it up. And then he stands there. It's like, and now what? What do you want me to do now? He's holding this cat and it's like just crawling all over him, trying to escape from him. And Ellen is just stay there. I'll go fetch a cage and we'll get it in that cage. So that's the situation right now. Up here, Midnight is probably not really, or Laser is not really caring about this cat. Oh, it's Jones. It's Dr. Ellen's cat. What you doing here, stupid cat? Get out of the way. There's some weird alien creature aboard. Stay safe. So that's all that happens with that. And yeah, that's the end of that turn. And we are now ready to go back into the movement phase for the intruder. And the intruder, or what? Maybe the intruder moves around the spaceship. So up here, Jones, the cat, moves, doesn't move, and then it moves into the airlock. And of course, as with anything else here, whenever something moves out of sight of a crew member, it turns into a black cube. So again, it can be anything. And down here, this one doesn't move, and then it moves here. These two, one of them doesn't move, and then it moves here, and the other one moves here, and then it stops, so they're kind of moving together. And then that dog that no one tried to catch, it moves actually into the lab, and then it continues into the access shaft, where it disappears. And we put this one back. Okay, so this is the situation now. We're not seeing anything, so we can basically go about our own business. So I think what we're going to do is that we're going to have Ellen go into the lab, and she's going to pick up a cage, And then she's going to go back into the corridor because she wants that cat safe back in the lab. And I think that she's not only thinking of, it's going to be more difficult to find the intruder if you've got all these animals running around. I also actually think she's genuinely concerned for this animal. She doesn't want it to be the next item of prey for the intruder. So she goes there and she sort of gets ready to have Midnight put the cat in the cage. Meanwhile, we have, that's Dr. Baxter, not Dr. Ellen, of course. Dr. Ellen is here. And Dr. Ellen, she's like, well, there was nothing here, but she still doesn't actually know what's going on. And she says, oh, it sounds like it's coming from in here now. So maybe there was something in here, but it just continued into the other storage area. So she moves into the storage area. And by the way, we should imagine that these areas on the ship, they're like huge. Full of stuff and corridors and rooms and everything. It's not as simple as just an open space. These sort of complex areas where things can hide and they can jump at you and they can disappear. So this is a very sort of abstracted floor plan of the spaceship that we're looking at. But Dr. Ellen goes in there, and then we are gonna send Midnight into the maintenance room because he wants to start creating that prod. It's going to take him a couple of turns working on it to develop it, but I think that's a good way to keep him occupied. And Commander Radetsky says to Sergeant Wee, who has just picked up the dart, so go check out the ship. I think there may be something in the ventilation shafts, or the access shaft. So if you'll go in there. So he crosses, going to the corridor, and then he moves into one of these access shafts to check out what is there. Okay, let's see. So as Ellen, she pursues the noise through the storage rooms, what does she find? Well, she finds a monkey. Another animal has escaped the lab. And a dummy, so nothing. So Dr. Ellen says, hey, monkey, what are you doing here? You should be in the lab in your cage. What are you running around here for? So I'm pretty sure she's going to try to pick that monkey up if she can. And then here in the access shaft, Dr. Sergeant Wee, who is moving in there with his dart pistol, does he encounter anything? He encounters a cat. And this must be Jones, Dr. Ellen's cat. That was just up there before, and now it's down here. So that means that you don't need to be no Sherlock Holmes to deduct that right now the creature is either there or there. But okay, that's all fine. What we're gonna do here is that Midnight is gonna transfer the cat into Dr. Baxter's cage. So the cat is now in the cat is in the cage, and the cage is in the hand of Dr. Baxter. This is how stacking works in these old chit encounter games. So whatever is on top, whatever kind controls whatever is below that. So Dr. Baxter controls the cage controls the cat. So that's how this is shown. And now, again, Midnight will be free to go off and complain about the sirens that's disturbing his music. In the access shaft, Commander Wee is really annoyed that this cat has dragged him into this. She's been chasing this cat in the shaft for 10 minutes or something, and then he rounds a corner, he's got his dart pistol ready, and he almost pulls the trigger on the cat. But he's like, okay, let's just try to silently pick it up. And he does manage to pick up the cat. This is going to be a problem, as we'll see in a minute, because he cannot really cage it. But I think he's gonna pick up the cat. That's the sensible thing to do. And Ellen, she's gonna try to pick up the monkey, and she is also successful. So she has the monkey. So now the thing is, you cannot really move around with these animals. So you need someone to come to you with a cage. So you can put them in the cage. You can transport the cage back to the lab, and then you can put them in the proper lab cage. So that's what we're going to be trying to do here, at least. Let's see if it works. Okay. So now we have to check if the creature metamorphoses, and it does not. It's still just a tiny little crab-like creature. And then stuff starts moving around. So up here, whatever's in the main airlock stays in the main airlock. And here we have something moving into the access shaft. And where does it go from? No, sorry. It moves up. Oh, the creature is in the main airlock right now. Right now, the creature is in the main airlock. But our problem is that we cannot kill the creature, because right now, this is actually the perfect setup. We could go into this corridor and we could just press the big button that opens the hatches, and it would be sucked into space. Because it doesn't have fast reflexes. If it did have fast reflexes, it would cling on to the sides of the doors. It was being dragged into space, and it would sort of claw its way back into the ship. But it doesn't. So the only reason we cannot kill it is it's still a life stage 1, and we are not allowed to kill it until it's at least life stage 3. It's not really considered a threat. It's still a scientific object. So it has positioned itself in the most vulnerable place in the whole spaceship, and we cannot even utilize it. That is frustrating. It really is. So we'll just have to go on our own merry little business and try to get some of these cats and dogs out of the way. So Dr. Baxter is going to go into the lab, getting ready to transfer the cat into one of the lab cages, and then she probably, I think she is gonna ask Midnight to help her. He's gonna go in here, he's gonna pick up one of these cages, he's gonna go back out into the corridor. He doesn't have enough move to get into the access shaft right now. So he's here with the cage, and she's like, go out and try to see if you can find some more of these escaped lab animals. And Dr. Ellen, she's kind of waiting for Midnight to come there and help her get the monkey in the cage. But I think that Sergeant Wee doesn't have the patience to sit with a cat in the access shaft for so long, because he want to go and fight that creature. And Commander Radetsky says that there is something going on in the main airlock. Please go check it out. So he moves 1, 2, 3. And that, in the logic of the way I play the game at least, this cat now becomes a black cube, which means that actually this could now be the alien. We don't know, because the cat went back into the bag with the alien. But anyway, this is our story. So Sergeant Wee is on his way to the main airlock to check out what is happening up there. And we again check to see if the creature grows. It still does not grow. It likes to remain small. That also means we cannot kill it, so it's a good strategy on part of the creature. Okay. Next, the creatures move. So up here, one of these moves down here and then stays there. And the other one stays here and then moves down here. Okay, so there's still a big chance that this is a creature moving into the corridor, moving against Sergeant Wee with the dart pistol. This could be a great showdown. What happens here? 2, 3. So whatever is here comes into the storage where Dr. Ellen is standing with this monkey trying to sort of calm it down. It's very agitated. Let's start with that scene. So Dr. Ellen is fully focused on trying to get this monkey under control and try to calm it down, when there is a sound from the access shaft, and she just turns to look, and out of the access shaft comes this crab-like creature. And it just sits there right in front of her. And the monkey just gets really, really agitated. And it immediately jumps out of her arms. And we're gonna, meanwhile, up here. No, there is no meanwhile. This is the only thing that's happening. Okay, great. So she's trying to calm down the monkey. the creature comes out of the access shaft, the monkey jumps out of her lap, and she's now facing the creature. Will it attack her? It will attack her. Dr. Ellen. And she has really nothing. So there's just all these crates and these boxes. The creature is coming at her. She's got to shoo it away. So she just takes there's just like an old chair that is sitting there with a broken leg. And she just throws it in the direction of this little creature. And the creature just quickly runs past it, and then it jumps at her. And it jumps straight at her throat. And just like it did with Dr. Hart, it attaches to her face, it puts her tentacle down her throat, and it tears her up from the inside out. Blood spurts everywhere. The monkey is in the corner, jumping up and down, shrieking, shrieking, shrieking. And Dr. Ellen drops to the ground, dead. All right, guys. We just lost our first crew member. And what happens now, I think, is perhaps the best mechanic in the entire game. Because this is the mechanic that simulates panic. Someone has died, which means that everyone now have, if possible, to reconvene in the command module at the bridge. So here we have Midnight. He just drops this cage right there in the corridor, and he goes into the command module. And Sergeant Wee, who was there with a gun down the corridor moving towards this noise, he just suddenly hears these piercing screams and this monkey going crazy over the intercom, and he just runs back into the command module. And the same goes for the same goes for Dr. Baxter, who just leaves the cat in the cage. He's just sitting there in the cage, shrieking. It's not in the lab cage, it's still in the portable cage. And they reconvene here, and also, unfortunately, Laser, he hasn't even started working on his prod yet, and he also has to return to the command module. And now furthermore, one of them doesn't make it back to the module. Someone is lost in one of the maze-like corridors in all these spaces that you see here on the map. And it turns out that it is, let me just see here, it cannot be him. So it is, of course, Laser, who on his way back gets lost, or he panics, or he hears a sound. He's hiding in a corner somewhere. So what we do now is that we also take Laser, put him into the bag. So now we also have to find Laser. And then everything out here also goes into the bag. So the monkey goes into the bag, the creature goes into the bag, these 4 dummy counters goes into the bag. And we should now have, I think, 9. Oh, we have 1 is there, so we should have 1. We should have 9 minus 1 plus 1, so that should be 9. So there are 9 unidentified noises, creatures, sounds, whatever. So now, and of course, Dr. Ellen is no more. So we're gonna create a little cemetery for her here. This is Dr. Ellen, deceased in the line of duty. So she never got to see her cat Jones again. That was kind of sad. And let's see, there. Okay. I think this is the setup. Right. Okay, so everyone panics, and Commander Radetsky says, reconvene at the bridge now, and everyone runs to the bridge, and they're like, where is Laser? Where is Laser? And Laser is nowhere to be seen. And meanwhile, quietly in the background, the creature may metamorphosize. Metamorphosize. Whatever. It may grow. And it does once. And it does twice. Ho ho! So while they're running scared, this creature really got some vitamins out of eating Dr. Ellen, because it's now at life stage 3, which means it has 2 more unknown powers. It also means that there is an extra clone of it, and I think we're gonna put that into the bag right away. So we're gonna put another unknown cube on the map, and we're gonna put a second creature into this bag. This game just got significantly more difficult. I love it. Okay, so here we are. Laser's gone. Hart is dead. Ellen is dead. We got 1 scientist left, and we are now at a point where Radetsky says, okay, this thing, whatever it is, has killed off 2 of our crew. It's time to take off the gloves. We are gonna kill this thing dead. So he's gonna open the arms cabinet for sure and just like go grab whatever you can find and just kill this thing. And he says, Midnight, if you can go into maintenance and, build a prod, or better yet, build a flamethrower so we can just blow this thing into bits and just burn it to ashes, that's what we should do. So the tone has changed. Still, Dr. Baxter is like, we cannot kill it. It's unethical. We are here as scientists, and we are here to research these creatures. We cannot just kill them off. We need this for science. And Radetsky is like, well, that's on you. If you see it and you don't want to kill it, then that's fine. Like you can get killed. But I think Baxter is already now starting to toying with plans. How can he keep the creature alive? All right, great. Stuff starts moving around at very fast speeds. So up here, into the corridor. Into the corridor. And back into, just out into the corridor and back into the shaft. Up here. Into here, into here. See how the ship is coming alive. It's just, there are just weird sounds from everyone. Something burst into the command module. I wonder what it is. Is it anything? Is it just a shadow? Or is it something real? 1, 4, 2. It stays there. And it stays there. Okay, so, and down here, of course. I'm kind of forgetting what I moved. I don't think I moved these 2. So this one goes here, and this one goes here, and then it stays there. So you're kind of getting the feel now of how the tension is up, how the whole ship is starting to come alive. There's cripply crawly sounds everywhere. Everything is now dangerous. We're down to 5 men, but one of them has actually gone missing, so we're kind of down to 4. Unless we find, we're lucky enough to find Laser again. But yeah, it's really ramping up. And right now, while it's like in the movie, if you watch the Alien movie, you'll see that every time there's an encounter with the alien, the next scene is the crew sitting together at the bridge or in the mess hall or in the living quarters or somewhere. They always reconvene. And this is that mechanic, basically, that when the creature kills one of the crew, everyone reconvenes, and it kind of resets the game, but it also means that you have to go out and find the creature again. So it creates this really interesting rhythm to the game that I really, really like. I think it's a very ingenious way of putting a game mechanic to that trope in the movie that magically everyone is together after someone dies. Okay, let's see what it is. They're just in the command module, they're talking together, and a door opens, slides open. Everyone turns their face, and what do they see? It's the creature! Or Is it? It is larger. It has legs. It has an elongated head. It has a weird carapace on its shoulder and its chest. And it's just staring at them. It's kind of huge. I mean, it's like, it's as big as a child now. It was a crab before. What's going on? And it stares at them. And again, it's not poised to attack. It just looks around, trying to survey who it's up against. Like, are these the guys that are gonna take me on? So, as it stops there in its tracks a little bit, everyone just looks at each other, and then of course, here, Sergeant Wee, he just raises his dart pistol and he shoots a dart straight at the oversized creature. And he hits it, and immediately the creature collapses and just lies there in a pile. And you can just see the breathing, how its sort of almost translucent skin is just like, moving up and down. You can just like a heart beating just behind very sort of thin, translucent skin, as if the whole creature is just lying there pulsating on the ground. For how long, who knows, but right now it's out cold, and Radetsky is just, get it in the cage now. So what we're gonna do is that Baxter runs out to grab this cage, except something's in the corridor. And at the same time, Radetsky, he opens the arms room and he walks in there and he picks up a blaster. And I think that because he's ready to just, cage it and kill it, I think is his plan right now. And let's see, Midnight, he was actually asked to go up and build a flamethrower, and he may still be actually like, well, it may be asleep now, but we don't actually know how to kill it. Maybe it can only die by flame, so I should probably go up there. But, just for safety, should I grab another dart? A dart pistol, or should I just move up there? No, it's trapped there. They have no idea that this may not be the only creature aboard the ship anymore. So he walks up here to through the corridor, up towards the maintenance room to put together his improvised flamethrower. And as this happened, does the creature grow? It only grows on a 6 now, and it didn't grow there. So that's all good. And oh, by the way, we have forgot to roll for the new powers of the creature. So we already know that it's a very fast creature. We know that it has clones. And now we also know that it is very strong. Now this is very bad news because, as our crew will probably find out real soon, you cannot cage this thing. It's just gonna bend the iron bars and jump out. So that was a brutal power for it to have. And then finally, it is also immune to flame. Oh my goodness. And we just sent Midnight up on now what is actually a fool's errand, because he's gonna go up there to try to build a flamer, and it's not gonna work. But only we know, only the script writers of this movie know. So, what happens next? Well, we moved and we conducted this sequence. It did not metamorphize, so now everything moves, except of course the creature here, because the creature is asleep, and it sleeps for 1 full turn, but everything else moves. Oh no, sorry, we moved into areas with cubes, so we have to check. So down here, Dr. Baxter is going out to pick up a cage. There's something in the corridor. As he steps into the corridor and he rounds a corner, immediately he's face to face with Laser. Laser, where were you? And he's like, I was wondering, I was I was running. I know. I normally I know the ship like the back of my hand, but I was in the corridor and I was in this crawl space, and it doesn't matter, Laser. You're back. Great. We got the creature. We got the creature. Help me bring the cage in so we can put the creature in the cage. And this is the best news the Laser has had all day. So he's ready to help Baxter. And up here, Midnight has gone into the corridor, and he's just walking down the corridor towards the maintenance room. He's walking at a very brisk pace, and there's a sound, and he turns around, but it's nothing. That's nothing. Ain't nothing there. Okay, all good. Right. So what we found, Laser. So this is the situation, and then everything moves. Let's start up here in storage. It moves down there. This moves in here and stays there. And it moves here and into the mess. And it moves into the access and into the lab. Ooh, something's in the lab. And this one stays there. This one moves here and stays there. And whatever is in the lab, I don't know, but somehow the cat is let out of the cage. So it looks like this now. Okay. This is quite a situation we got ourselves here. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have... yeah, what are we gonna do actually? We have the situation here, but it's still asleep. So we still have... we put it to sleep, so it'll be asleep, and then it'll be... and then it'll probably wake up. But okay. Nothing happens, and then we move. So Dr. Baxter picks up the cage. He moves into the command module with it, and the creature is still lying there sleeping. I'm just trying to figure out for how long it'll actually be asleep. Let's just let it have it sleep there, and Midnight is gonna go with him, and Laser is gonna go with Dr. Baxter, and then Midnight is gonna go into maintenance. So up in maintenance, there is something up in maintenance, or perhaps there is. Yeah, it's that goddamn cat again. What you doing in here? These cats, they're messing with us. Then here, we have the creature, which is still asleep. So we are gonna use this opportunity. It's kind of beginning to wake up, actually. But we're gonna use this opportunity to put it in the cage. So Dr. Baxter puts the creature in the cage. And as they're standing there, looking at it and looking how much it has grown and how vile and brutal and perfect it looks, they're seeing it's like its eyelids start flickering, and it turns its weird elongated head around, and it looks up at them and it hisses. And then it just takes its claw-like arms and it wraps its hands around the iron bars, and just as if they were butter, it pulls them apart, and it steps right out into the room, leaving nothing but a broken cage behind it. So this is the situation. And of course, everyone is looking on in horror, but there's no time to act before the alien moves out. Up here in the maintenance room, again, theoretically, Midnight could pick up the cat, but I don't think he bothers because he wants to build that flamethrower. So that's his goal now. So now everything moves again. So the cat, it moves out here, and then it moves 3. Back in. Okay, but that's weird. So it moves out here, and it becomes a something, and something else moves in that room. Here, this thing moves up here, and it stays there. Whatever this noise is that's reverberating here can now be heard in the access shaft. Here in the mess, something moves into the shaft and moves back into the mess. And then the creature, the more interesting move here, it moves into the corridor and then it slithers into the shaft and disappears. Oh my goodness, we just found it and we caged it and it got out. This stays. One moves in there. This stays. And this moves here and moves back again. So there's a lot of action going on in the ship, and we need to come up with a decent plan in order to catch this creature. We still, for all we know, there's only one creature aboard. Up here, Midnight is re-entering the maintenance room. And is there anything in the maintenance room right now? No. Again, he thought he heard something, but it must, yeah, it couldn't really have been anything. Let me just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Should there be 10? I think there should be, it should be like this because we have another creature in. Yeah, okay. Perfect. So this is the situation, and it's about time that we moved about, and we need to take some action here. So let's go out and find this thing and blow it to pieces. No more Mr. Nice Guy. So Sergeant Wee, he has picked up a blaster, and he moves here. 1, 2, 3, into the lab, back to where it came from. Maybe it's still down there. He's gonna go check it out. And Radetsky, he keeps the door open here, and he says, like, we gotta try everything. So he sends Laser in to pick up a gas canister and come out with that, and just try to spray it with this gas if you see it. We don't know what works. And at the same time, Dr. Baxter goes in and he picks up a dart and goes back out again. He is still not interested in killing this thing off. He just wants to get it to sleep and somehow be able to control it. Actually, the only way to do that now is to get a prod. So perhaps what he is gonna be telling Midnight is, could you come up with some kind of electrical prod? So, that flamethrower thing, we don't need it. We got blasters, we got gas, we got everything. But if you can come up with a prod, we could actually just prod it and we could stick it in the freezer or something. I'm sure that'll be fine. So what Midnight is going to do is he's going to spend his turn starting to build this prod. It's going to take him 2 turns, but this was his first action. And we just set up, and then, of course, we had Sergeant Wee move into the lab with his blaster held out. He kicks open the door into the lab. He sees that this cage is open and the cat is gone again. But maybe there's something else in the room. Is there? Oh, you betcha. Here is the creature. Standing right there next to the open cage, looking very guilty, is this sort of child-sized, carapaced creature. And it just looks at him, and it again holds its distance, but we have to see if it metamorphoses, and it does not. So it just holds his ground, is looking at him, and Sergeant Wee, he raises his blaster, and he pulls the trigger. And he shoots, but the shot misses. It hits the cage, and the cage just explodes in a million pieces and just melts down. to just a bit of bubbling metal on the lab floor. And the creature is still standing there looking at him as if asking, "What do you think you're doing with that blaster?" All right. That was very lucky, I guess, for our Sergeant Wee, that the creature decided not to attack. It's getting pretty deadly, I can tell you. It's getting pretty deadly. It's also immune to flame, it's very strong, it's cloned, and it's very fast. It's horrible odds, but we gotta do something. Unfortunately, now we have made our moves, and the creature didn't metamorphosize, so now everything moves. So now the creature may very well just be on its merry way again. But let's start up here and see what moves around. This one just stays there. These bits of whatever goes there and stays and moves here. These two, one stays, one moves there. One stays, one moves there. This one moves here and stays. Now the creature moves here and where? Oh, into the shaft. Okay. So we're sighting this creature in various locations. Still not really grokking that there are more of them, but it's, I mean, it has to be very fast to show up in all these different places. So maybe there is this dawning feeling that it's not just a single creature that we're dealing with. All right. Now, what do we do? Well, I think that Midnight, he's going to finish developing his prod. So he has now put together in sort of a very interimistic way an electrical prod that he can use to, basically immobilize and control the creature with. We need to kill off that creature, and I think that Sergeant Wee probably feels that he just had actually a really good shot at it, and he would like to have another shot at it and just hit it straight on. But so he saw it just run away into the corridor. So of course it's just like tumbling into the corridor, rolling around. He's landing there. He's holding his blaster, and he's ready to just pull that trigger on whatever is out there. And here we have Dr. Baxter will be chasing into this corridor on his own little adventure, looking for the creature, hoping to find a good shot and be able to shoot it with a dart and get it to basically fall asleep, and so he can bring it into the freezer or something. And Radetsky, he's still, I guess he needs to hold on to the bridge, but definitely also we need to send in we need to send in Laser with the gas canister. So he moves into this corridor from the other end. So whatever it is there, Laser and Sergeant Wee, they're just squeezing it from opposite sides. So let's start with seeing what is in that corridor. Well, there is nothing. So that was just a sound. And there is nothing. So they burst into that corridor, and they end up just looking at each other. Wee with his blaster right in the face of Laser, and Laser holding up this gas canister, also just ready to just pull open the nozzle off it and just let this gas out. So they're standing there in this Mexican standoff, but there's nothing between them, no creature. All they were hearing were each other. Down here, where Dr. Baxter, he thought he saw something through out the corner of his eye. So he moved into this corridor, and he was right there in front of him, this perfect organism that he has come to admire so much. And he raises, he doesn't raise up his dart, because first it looks at him and it what does it do? It stands there in the corridor before him. He is looking at it, and he's wasting his advantage. He's wasting his surprise by just admiring the thing that slowly rises before him. And it rises and it gets ready to jump at him. And as it jumps, by instinct, Dr. Baxter pulls out his dart gun and he pulls the trigger and he hits the alien right there, and it slumps down in front of him, asleep on the ground. And Baxter, of course, wants to just keep it there and try to somehow drag it into the freezer, but it's too heavy. You know, you really need a cage to transport it in, and there isn't much time because, you know, it'll wake up, but it's the only thing he can see that you can really do with this thing. So he puts it there, and we have to see, of course, as it falls asleep, if this sleeping agent in its veins does something else to it, but it doesn't. It stays at the same life stage, but it's now there, asleep. Okay, this is the situation. So now everything moves again, except for the creature, which is in sleep mode. So something moves there. Something moves into the maintenance room where Midnight just finished building his electrical prod. Whatever is here, something moves into the corridor where Sergeant Wee and Laser are facing each other down. And something moves into the lab and then also into this corridor. Okay, the ship is coming alive. Maybe the realization that there are more than one creature is almost upon them. Something moves in here and stops. There's movement all about. Everyone is freaking out. Everyone is jumping at shadows at this point. So what do we do? Well, the creature is asleep. There's nothing more that can be done there. Up here, as Midnight turns, just testing his electrical prod and just seeing the electricity just like playing at the end of the prod, he turns around and he sees a second creature coming right at him. Oh my God, how can there be creatures in two spaces at the same time? Well, it has spawned a twin. But he has the prod, so let's see if he can use it to good effect. And down here in the corridor, what do we find there? Well, it's a monkey and a cat. It's these creatures. We need to catch them and put them in their cages. They are annoying the heck out of us. There's too much distraction going on. So what we're turning to now is the situation up here. And first, we check to see if the creature is doing anything. No, it's just sitting there. It's not attacking. It's probably just taking in the electrical prod as Midnight moves closer and closer. And then finally, he presses the button. And now I just have to look up a rule because I don't remember what the chances of success are for the prod. Oh, I do remember, it's up on this chart. And he needs to roll a 1 for it to succeed. Oh my God. Actually, as we can see on this table, the prod is way more effective when the creature is smaller. So that makes total sense. And of course, his newly built prod, he's hitting the creature with it, and the electricity is sizzling and it's connecting with the skin of the creature, but nothing happens. It just looks at him. It's completely unimpressed. And he's thinking, oh my God, I should have built that flamethrower instead. So absolutely no effect, but the creature doesn't attack him, so nothing much happens in this situation. Down here, I think that they're so tired of these animals running around that they're both gonna try to capture an animal. So Laser tries to pick up the monkey, but he's not really successful. He's never been very good with monkeys. And Sergeant Wee, he tries to get the cat towards him, but he's also super agitated, and there's a massive blaster in his hand, so the cat doesn't really care, it doesn't come to him. Okay, that was not great, but at least no one got killed, so we were lucky. But what happens now is that we have a move turn, and I don't know. I mean, we can't even cage this thing. We could prod it, but it's really difficult to prod it when it's this big. So I actually don't know. I think Baxter is just living in some kind of fantasy world where you can actually just back this creature and take it back to Earth. But I think it's going to be really difficult. So I think what's rather going to happen is that when he only has a dart. I think what happens when Commander Radetsky, he sees on the surveillance camera that there's a creature down there by Baxter, and Baxter's gotten asleep. He calls out over the intercom to Laser to just get him in there and finish it off. So Laser, he's going to run down here with his gas canister, and then we're also going to take our Sergeant Wee is going to run in here with his blaster. So they're running into this corridor. Baxter is kneeling in front of the alien that's lying on the ground, prone. Again, just like its skin pulsating with some kind of inner life that seems more like the life that would be pulsating at the core of a star than just a normal living creature with blood circulating through its veins. Is almost like this sort of like a light that just expands inside its body, making its skin heave as it's lie there. And he's looking at it. It's so perfect. And he's holding up his hands, trying to prevent Laser and Sergeant Wee to getting close, but they don't care. And the first one in is Laser, and he just takes his gas canister and he just bloats this, just takes the nozzle and presses down and just releases this cloud of highly poisonous gas onto the creature. And exactly nothing happens. And Baxter is just even more amazed. It just keeps on breathing in this cloud of poisonous gas. What's up with this creature? And then Sergeant Wee says, "Step aside, Baxter." And Baxter doesn't want to step aside. He's kneeling on the ground. He's like, you cannot shoot it. We have to take it back. And then Wee just takes him by the shoulder. He shrugs him aside, and he steps forth and he raises his blaster and shoots. And the creature is hit in the chest, and it explodes from the inside out. And there is acid blood spraying in all directions, and everyone around it gets burns on their skin. But finally, the creature is dead. And they stand in a circle around it, and they look at it as its blood eats its way through the iron grating in the floor, and the limp body just falls through level after level after level inside the Prometheus. The creature is dead. What wonderful news. The creature is dead. And everyone, of course, will reconvene back at the bridge to evaluate and discuss what to do now and how to contain the body and how to stop all the acid blood and everything. But as they do that, Midnight comes back with a depressing piece of news, because he says, it can be. It's in the maintenance room. It's like, what are you talking about? It's in the maintenance room. And nobody believes him until they turn on the surveillance cam from the maintenance room, and they see the creature grinning up at the camera before it slides out of the door and disappears into the darkness of the ship once more. So we're gonna take the creature, we're gonna take the 2 animals, we're gonna take all the 4 dummies, and we're gonna place them back in the bag. And also, when they get back into the bridge, when they're reconvening at the bridge, someone is missing. Baxter is missing. So, for whatever reason, Baxter doesn't reconvene. And I don't know what's going on with Baxter. If you have any suggestions out there, please feel free to share them. But I think that maybe Baxter has gone off on his own to try to find that second creature and maybe get that one back to Earth. But as we reconvene here, we're gonna put out again all these noise cubes. And, oops, there's gonna be an additional one in here. And then we're gonna see if the creature grows. And the creature doesn't grow, it stays just as it is, but it's dangerous enough. So right now, there is still only 1 clone left of the creature. So if it doesn't grow any further, it's fine. But if it grows further, there'll be more clones. So that's kind of the desperate situation that we put ourselves in. Swordvende asks, is this the first game to incorporate this detailed emulation of space cat behavior? I think we have another first here. I'm pretty sure. And we may also have an only. I'm not sure there's a lot of games out there that really are very good at emulating space cat behavior. But definitely this game does it very well. And again, we've been talking about the way this game adapts the Alien movie. And of course, a central part of the Alien movie is the relationship between Ripley and her cat Jones, and how they're all moving around and trying to pick up the cat, and how Ripley is trying to save it and all that. And this is done, I think, quite well in this game, that you're constantly running around trying to pick up the cat. And of course, the benefit of picking up the cat or some of the other lab animals is if you can cage them in the lab, they kind of go out of the game, which means that you don't have to deal with the noise that they might be making. But the problem is that it's quite a few steps to find the animal, pick up the animal, put it in a cage, transport the cage to the lab, transfer the animal from the cage in the lab to the permanent lab cage. It's a lot of steps. So we almost got one animal in a permanent cage, but then someone was killed by the creature and we had to reconvene. Now we killed the creature and we had to reconvene. So right now the situation is that the creature is dead for all we know, but Midnight has brought us the terrible news that he's sure that there's a creature up there in maintenance. And we just saw in the surveillance cam, just the, backside of it as it left the maintenance room. And Dr. Baxter is missing. What is going on? Let's find out. So, everything starts moving around again. It doesn't move here. Something moves into the shaft. And then it moves back into storage. And here, something moves into the mess and into the corridor. Something moves into the corridor. Here, something moves in here and stays. And that one moves in here and out there. Oh, they're convening. This is the corridor where Baxter disappeared. What is happening? In here, in here. This one. In here, in here. And everything is coming alive. This ship is crawling with potential aliens. So now it's our turn. Something's out there, but we just discovered that if you apply a blaster, it works pretty well. The gas didn't work so well, so maybe blasters are better. And we're definitely gonna send again Sergeant Wee down here with the blaster, hoping to find the alien down here and just blast it out of existence. And at the same time, I think that Laser wasn't too happy with how this gas thing works. So he's going to go in and he's going to pick up a blaster. 1, 2, 3, and go out here, get ready for some action. And then we have Midnight with his prod. And he's like, this prod stinks. Like, I applied to this creature and nothing happened. I need to go get a flamer. But I also don't want to walk up into maintenance unarmed. So I need some kind of weapon, I think. And I'm going to leave this prod here. So he's probably just going to pick up the gas and go down here. Because he wants to build that. He wants to build that flamer. Okay. So let's see what happens. First, we have to check if the creature metamorphoses. And it does not. And up here, we have Midnight moving up there in the corridor. Is there anything there? Well, there's a dog. And down here, Sergeant Wee, hoping to find Baxter, because this is where Baxter went missing. Is she still there? No, there's nothing and a monkey. Huh, okay. So that's really all. And see, I would love to put these animals in cages. It's just such a chore. And especially when we don't have Baxter to do it for us. But maybe we should put in the effort to sort of declutter the noise a little bit. I think we may actually be happy doing that. I think Sergeant Wee is going to try to pick up the monkey. He doesn't succeed. It's impossible to grab hold of this monkey. It's jumping all around. And Midnight, he is going to try to, be friendly with the dog, but the dog, it just snarls at him. It doesn't want to get close. Clearly, it doesn't trust anyone anymore around this ship. So they're just there. And that's basically all. And now everything moves again. It's like finding a needle in a haystack at this point. And all the time there is a chance that this thing grows. This thing stays. This goes there. This stays. This goes there and there. This goes there and there. The monkey goes here. So there's more clutter down there. And this one stays, and then it moves. Something moves into the lab. That's always not a good sign, I would say. This one stays and moves up here. And the dog just stays. It just stands there, snarling. And Midnight has to edge his way past it. Okay. So nothing moved into our line of sight, so everything is like it is, and we can just move on. So Midnight, he's gonna keep on going down toward the maintenance room because we want to build that flamethrower. And Sergeant Wee, he feels so confident after he blasted that first alien that he's just gonna clear out these rooms one at a time. And then we have Laser, and I think that Laser is gonna go and check on the lab because maybe there's something in the lab and maybe it's the creature returning. Now he picked up a blaster too. So Laser with a blaster cannot go wrong. Okay. Let's see if the... Oops. Sorry guys, I dropped a die. It is, of course, a board gaming trope to drop a die, and the discussion is always whether the roll counts or not. I decided that it didn't count, so let's roll for Metamorphosis. and there is no metamorphosis. Okay. So at least the alien is not growing stronger right now, which is a good thing. It means that there is still only one clone left. So if we're able to kill off that one clone, then we have actually rid the Prometheus off this clone. Or off the alien, totally. But if it grows, there'll be more clones. So let's hope it doesn't do that. Anyway, let's see what they encounter. Up there, we first have Midnight, who is walking down towards the maintenance room. He is carrying this gas canister, and there was a sound there, but really, it was nothing. It was nothing. At the same time, we have Laser moving into the lab with his blaster, because he also thought he saw something or heard something, but again, there was nothing. And then finally, we have Sergeant Wee, who is moving into one of the storage areas, because again, there's supposed to be, should be something in here. And in there, hiding behind one of the crates, he finds Dr. Baxter. And they exchange glances. And Dr. Baxter is like, I got scared. I was hiding in here. I thought I heard something. I didn't. And Sergeant Wee is clearly not trusting Baxter. You know, he's keeping his blaster close, and he wants to make sure that alien dies. So he just says to Baxter, "Okay, you stay close to me. Just follow me. Don't make a move away from me. Just stay here with me. I'm going to keep you safe, and we're going to take out that creature." And Baxter is not so comfortable with the situation, but what can you do? He's just been discovered, basically, trying to look for the alien by himself. So this is the situation, and we check to see if the creature grows. It does not, and then everything moves around once more. So we need to take this one out, I think. 4, yeah, that's it. Okay. Up here, something is moving back and forth. Something is moving around these storage rooms. But where they go, we don't know. But now, something is moving into the corridor where Midnight is. And the dog, well, the dog runs in here and back in here. But it still means that it is now maybe the dog, maybe it's something else. Down here, we have something moving again. Like there's these storage rooms. There's just these constant like shadows are playing, things are moving. Maybe it's equipment. Maybe it's the old swinging arm of a crane, or you know, there are all these little automated operations. There's water dripping. There's power leaking. You never know. You never know what it is. But now something is moving into the room where Baxter and Sergeant Wee is, and actually two things are doing that. Okay, do we have contact or do we not? First, we have here Midnight, who is standing in front of the door to the maintenance workshop, and just as he is pushing the button that releases the door, he turns around, and there it is, Jones, the cat, on the floor. And he has a choice to make. Should he pick up the cat, or should he just go into the maintenance hall? Meanwhile, in the storage room, down in this part of the Prometheus, Sergeant Wee and Dr. Baxter is encountering something. Was Dr. Baxter actually onto something? Was he about to discover? Well, a dog has wandered in, and let's see what the other thing is. Another cat. So we just got animals all over, and yeah, it fits. Okay. So there are all these animals, and you can see how frustrating it is to have them wander around. We need to cage them, but right now we only got one cage left. And we really just need to find that creature. And while we are going around hunting for cats and dogs, the creature grows. Which horribly means that now there is another clone of the creature. And now the creature has another unknown power. And now it's even more aggressive. We need to get rid of this thing or these things very soon. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to put the ship into self-destruct mode and escape via the shuttles. Because the situation is getting pretty dire, guys. And I don't think we have time to run around and pick up dogs and cats anymore. We tried that. It failed. Our cages are broken. We need to act right now. So what we're going to do... what are we going to do? Well... we are gonna move. And yes, I'm mixing up the turn sequences a little bit here, but that's because the turn sequence is kind of... it's very sort of repetitive, and you have the same kind of sub-routines running in 2 different turns, and sometimes you mix them up. It's how it goes. But it's not at all important. What's important is that we go out and we find that creature. So in order to do that, we also need to keep track of where the animals are. Because as soon as we leave the animals, they turn into something unknown. And we don't know that they're animals anymore. That's the whole problem. So I think we need to try to use this chance to just go ahead and do as much damage as we can. So we're going to send Laser straight into storage here with his blaster. And then we're going to take Commander Radetsky. He's finally going to leave the bridge. He's carrying the sleeping dart and he's moving into this corridor. And now we hope that finally we will have the creature trapped. All right, come on. There are 3 possible places left it can be, and we're at 2 of them. First, down in the storage room where Laser moved in, nothing. Oh my goodness. And then, wait a sec. Am I? Oh, yeah, okay. I made a mistake. It doesn't matter. Here. Right there. We have a creature. So Commander Radetsky finally steps off the bridge. He walks into the corridor, and as the doors slide open, he stands face to face with a now human-sized version of this fierce creature staring at him, acid saliva dripping down its cheeks, and it is poised to attack him. It jumps at him. He raises his sleeping dart. He pulls the trigger, but the dart just gets stuck in the carapace of the creature, and it jumps over him, and it just, in one quick motion, it just rips his head straight off his torso. And he falls limp and headless to the ground. And the only sound that's left is the metallic sound of his dart pistol that's skipping across the metal grating. So now Commander Radetsky is dead. And this means that we have another panic situation. Everyone hurries back to the command module to find out what's actually going on here, except that the path is blocked for Midnight. So Midnight, he doesn't dare go through the corridor, so he stays up in this end. So back on the bridge, we have Baxter and we have Sergeant Wee, except one of them, and again, Baxter goes missing. So now I just have to check what's in the bag. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that right? There's a lot in this bag now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is not getting less complicated, but we now have, it should now look like this. So the situation is that Commander Radetsky has just been killed. Again, Dr. Baxter has gone missing, and Sergeant Wee is alone on the bridge, and Midnight is caught up in the maintenance corridor. And we got movement everywhere, guys. Oh, by the way, of course, Laser is also here. So Laser also makes it back to the command module. So we are placing them like this. And we also know that there are two versions of the creature, and it has developed a new power. And that new power is that it is immune to shock. So that's not so important at this stage, but it basically means you cannot use the electrical prod against it. So it doesn't really have any effect. We're just going to keep it there in the command module, not really doing much. And we're going to position these pieces here. And this one goes here. Okay. So on the bridge, we have Sergeant Wee and Laser. They're meeting up. Their commander is dead. The scientist has disappeared. This appears to be more creature. No one knows where Midnight is either. And I think Sergeant Wee at this point takes an executive decision, and he opens the door into the computer module. He steps in and he activates the self-destruct sequence. This means that if for 4 turns we have the chance to turn off the self-destruct procedure in case we encounter the creature and kills it. But if we doesn't, and we go beyond those first 4 turns, then we'll have another 4 turns to get into the shuttles and then just, get the hell off the ship before it explodes into bits and pieces all over silent, empty space. All right. Self-destruction routine has been initiated. And I think that's the first thing that happens, and then we move stuff around. So now everything moves. Up here. 5 doesn't move it down there. This one moves here and stays. This one doesn't move, moves down there. This one moves here. This one moves here, and this one moves here, and this one moves here and back, and this one moves here, and another one into the lab. I never liked that. And 2 and stays, and 3 and back, stays in here. Okay, so this is the situation, and we have initiated the self-destruct sequence, but the shuttles are here and here, so it seems even if we're trying to get to the shuttles, we may still have to fight our way out. And first we're going to try to clear the path. We're still looking for this creature, and Laser, he's just going to step into this corridor with his blaster, the only thing that we know really works on them at this point. And Midnight, he is... Yeah, I think Midnight's going to go in here, and he's going to try to push through with his flamer project. He wants this flamer, and there is still time on the self-destruction timer. And Sergeant Wee, who is now Commander Wee, he started the process here of self-destruct. And meanwhile, the creature does not grow any further. So all we need to do is to see what is it that Laser is finding down here in the corridor. and it's nothing. It's just, again, another dumb old sound to confuse the enemy. And then everything moves again. So this one moves up here, and as you can see, there's a lot of moving stuff around in this game, and it can be a little tedious, but it's also, I think, the power of the simulation, this feeling that the ship is alive with creepy, crawly sounds and noises, and most of it is nothing, but suddenly something is actually something, and that's when it gets really dangerous and interesting. So, oh my goodness, something's moving into the maintenance room. The ship is alive. Something goes there. 1, 4, oh my goodness. It's almost as if there is intelligent movement on the ship, I would say. Look! Whatever is convening here. Are they spawning more creatures? There. Oh my goodness. And here, I mean, at least no one's in the shuttles, because we're going to need those shuttles if we want to get off the ship. But first, we have to see what moved into the corridor where Laser is with his blaster. And again, it's Jones. Jones just keep on popping up. And in the maintenance room where Midnight has just begun working on the flamer, what happens up there? See. Yep. Well, it's nothing. He just turns around. As I said, like, they're all jumping at shadows at this point. So it's no big surprise, really. So nothing is there, but perhaps Laser... I think Laser, he was actually quite fond of Dr. Ellen. And her cat, Jones, kind of reminds him of her. So I think he's gonna try to pick up Jones. And maybe get the cat with him in the shuttle when they leave. And of course, and he succeeds. And while he's doing that, of course, you have, coming out of the loudspeaker, T-8 minutes to self-destruct. And in T-4 minutes, the self-destruct procedure can no longer be overridden. So all this is blaring. There is red lights in the corridor. There is the steam that's just pouring in from valves, and the lighting is sort of dim, and it's a scary place to be right now. Like, there are things that go bum in the night, and it's difficult to orient yourself. And Laser is just holding onto this cat as the self-destruct routine starts activating. It should have done that before, but now we come to our movement phase. So we are gonna try to get Jones out of here. While the routine is running, we're gonna have Laser stay in the corridor, and then we're gonna have now Commander Wee move into the lab. He wants to pick up that cage and get the cat cage and get it back with us, because we're just actually trying not to look for the alien right now, because we're getting kind of scared of it, and everyone is a little bit in their own world, ignoring it. Like, the self-destruct routine has started, and it's just a question of getting off the ship, pick up everything you need, get off the ship. And Midnight, he's like, I'm not leaving without a flamer. So he's just spent his time up there. He's building the flamer. It's going to take him 3 turns to build it, but then he has the flamer. And of course, what he doesn't know is that the creature is immune to flame. But let's find out in a cinematic fashion if it becomes necessary. All right, so we've moved around the ship, and we're still missing Dr. Baxter. No one knows if he's alive or dead, and now we need to check if the creature grows. It does not. And then, again, the self-destruct moves closer, so it's now T-7 till ship destruction. And the creature starts moving around, or whatever it is starts moving around. Things that go bum in the night start moving around. Something moves in here, up there. They're encircling this maintenance area. It looks a little bit scary. Will Midnight find a way out with his flamer? Here. Ooh, something moves into the command module. Guys. And here. Down there. Oh, something moves into the lab where Sergeant Commander Wee is. And here we have something moves there. Here and from both sides into the lab. Someone and out into the corridor. They're standing there with the scanners and they're just blinking and bleeping, and they can just see these little green dots of light moving closer and closer and closer and closer. What is it that's coming? Is it a cat? Is it a dog? Is it a monkey? Is it a creature? And by the way, does the creature grow? The creature doesn't grow. Okay. Let's see. First here, in the corridor, where Laser is standing, holding Jones in his arm. Again, he looks up scared. The cat opens his eyes wide, and he turns around, and it hisses at something. But there's nothing there. At least if there is something there, he doesn't see what it is. Down here in the lab, Sergeant Wee is again inspecting some of those cages that have mysteriously fallen open, even though he seemed to remember they were closed just before. And as he's standing there, entering the lab from opposite sides are two creatures! Alien Carnage! This is Intruder at its best! Look at this. Here you have it. In the lab. Showdown. And here we have Sergeant Wee surrounded by two creatures. He's got one blaster. What will they do? They look at him hungrily, and they are both poised to attack. Hoo-hoo, this is gonna be dangerous. So, he's basically has his head stuck in one of the cages, the first cage where the original creature was, and he's kind of looking at the skin that was cast off from the first form of the creature, and he's holding it up, looking at it, and suddenly this deep shadow falls upon him from one side, and then a deep shadow falls upon him from the other side, and he turns around and he sees these two human-sized, muscular, carapaced, acid-dripping creatures, and they're just snarling at him, and then they jump him at the same time from both sides. And he lifts his blaster, and he shoots it off, and he hits one of them. It doesn't fall down dead, but it retreats back into the living quarters and disappears. But the other one, it jumps at him, and it rips him apart. It completely devours him. It rips his inside out. It decorates the room with him. It gorges on him. It leaves almost no other trace than that blaster pistol soaked in blood and gore on the floor is all that's left. The one thing that could kill the creature, and it's just lying there unfired on the floor. And Sergeant Wee, battlefield promoted to Commander Wee, is no more. And now normally a panic session would follow where everyone would reconvene at the command module, but because we're in self-destruct mode, we are in constant panic mode. So there's no more reconvene. It's every man and woman for themselves right now. So this is what we have to deal with. So the moment this guy is dead, our creature just turns into another thing that go bum in the night. And this is our situation. Right now we have Midnight, we have Laser. Dr. Baxter is out here somewhere, but we don't know where, and we don't know what he's doing. We have two creatures also running around, and we have a self-destruct counter, and we need to be in these shuttles soon. But that was the movement of the creatures. So now it's our turn. So Midnight, he keeps on working on his flamethrower, and I think that Laser realizes, look, you know, as much as I would like to take Jones with me in the shuttle, this is not gonna work. I need to go up and get a hold of Midnight so we can retreat to the shuttles, because we need to leave, and I just have to let that cat go. So he picks up what's most important, which is his blaster, and he moves into the command module where he sees something. And what's in the command module now? Let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not. It's Dr. Baxter. He's suddenly unharmed in the command module. And he is telling Laser to stop the self-destruct procedure. Just dismantle the system. There's no need for this. We need these creatures back home. And Laser screams at him, telling him he's insane. And by the way, only Commander Radetsky and Sergeant Wee have the ability to shut down the self-destruct procedure. And they are both dead. So if you want, go out and try to scrape off one of their fingerprints from the floor somewhere, and maybe you can stop that self-destruct sequence. And good luck. I'm going to get Midnight, and we're getting out of here in one of those shuttles, and that's right now. So what happens is, again, we check if the creature grows, and it does. The creature grows even stronger, and it multiplies once again. Oh my goodness. We so need to get out of this thing right now. And the self-destruct moves down to 6, and all the creatures move. This one doesn't move anywhere. This one moves into maintenance. This one goes here and there, sneaking around. No one seems to... Something moves into the command module, right behind Baxter. And something moves in from the other side as well. Okay. Let's start up here in the maintenance room. So we have Midnight hard at work on his flamer. I just need to check if my back is properly configured. 1, 2, 3, it is. So up in the maintenance room, again, the door slides open, and Midnight turns around with his half-finished flamer that wouldn't be able to fire any kind of shot. But there's nothing there. There's just shadow passing. Swordvanze asks, is there only room for one person in each escape shuttle? Not that you will need the shuttles. Well, come on! Can you cheer for me just a little bit, Swordvend? No, there's actually room for 4 people in each shuttle. But since I am playing with sort of a smaller crew, I have put it down to 2 people in each shuttle. So right now we are 3 people left, so we'll have to go in different shuttles. If everyone survives. But yeah, let's first see if we need the shuttles. Okay. Great stuff. Nothing happened. He's still working. Midnight's still working on his flamer. But meanwhile, in the command module, something is entering from both sides. We have Baxter and we have Laser. And what is it that shows up? Oh, it's a repeat. It's a repeat. We got 2 creatures coming at them from both sides. And the creature just grew. So, I mean, chances are that it's gonna attack. And yeah, both of them are gonna attack. They are super aggressive now. And all we can really do is that we can have Laser turn around. He can fire his blaster in self-defense. And that is not gonna work. Nothing happens. And Baxter is also getting jumped. And Baxter kind of opens his arm. He's trying to get close. He doesn't even sense the danger at this point. He's walking right towards it, and he's just looking. He is seeing human intelligence in the eyes of this creature, and he wants to understand it. He wants to communicate with it, and he doesn't see that it's breathing fire. It's drooling acid. It has lightning is crackling at the ends of its claws. And what happens as it falls upon Baxter? Well, it rips him apart, and I don't even need to throw dice anymore, I can see, because probability of kill on a 6-sided die is right now 1 through 6. It's a pretty high chance. So Baxter, in his love of the creature, dies in a final beautiful embrace of a perfect species. While at the same time, Laser is being completely obliterated, and again, the blaster just falls to the floor with this loud clacking sound, metal against metal, and the creatures disappear into the shadows from where they came. Oh my goodness. This is the situation. Everyone is dead, except for Midnight, who now finally completes the flamethrower, which he doesn't know to be ineffective, but so he should have probably have kept the gas canister, but he doesn't know. So he has the flamethrower. There are creatures all around, and he somehow has to make his way back to the shuttles. And the self-destruct is down to 5, so he's got 4 turns to make it. So the distance is not a problem, but what could be a problem is these little dudes running around here. Let's see where they move. And by the way, this creature has to go into the bag, and we have to put one here. So we now have 3 aliens in the bag. 3 out of 5. That's pretty high chances of encountering an alien at this point. All right. Let's see. Where do they move? 1, 4. Out here. Ah, damn. They're blocking the corridors. Of course they're blocking the corridors. They are smart. They're clearly intelligent. Moves here. Moves back in the shaft. Up here. In here. You see, they're going for him. He's never gonna make it. Here. And in there. That one. Moves there and stays. Okay, this is the situation. They're convening on him. But he has to make a run for it. Like, there's no way through. This is the main airlock. He has to get to one of the shuttles. So, of course, what he does is he just runs into the corridor and he just runs straight down here. And we check to see if the creature grows. It does not, but we have to roll for its new unknown power, which means that it has fast reflexes, which is actually really bad news because it means that we can no longer basically just, flush it into space by opening the airlocks. It'll just grab hold on the sides and claw its way back in. So, what does Midnight encounter? Midnight with a flamethrower right there in the hallway. It is Jones. It is Jones. So what does Midnight do? He has a flamer in one hand, and with the other hand, he picks up Jones, and he's now carrying Jones. Now, this is not normally allowed by rules, but now we do allow it. Let's say that Midnight can walk with a flamer and a cat. And then we have to see if the creature grows. It does not. And we are now at T-4. T-4 minutes to self-destruct. The sequence can no longer be reversed. We have 4 turns to get into a shuttle and get the hell out of the Prometheus, or we're gone. Can we make it? A lot depends on how these creatures move right now. So Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. What does this creature do? It runs up here. And it runs in here. What does this creature do? It stays. This thing here. Down there. Down there. Ooh. They're teasing him. That one. Moves down here. Moves in here. Okay. So it looks like Shuttle Dock 1 is going to be off limits. So I think we're going to hit for Shuttle Dock 2. And I think that what we actually are going to do is that Midnight, he kind of discovers he cannot both have the cat and the flamer, and there are no aliens. So suddenly, in a show of empathy, he drops the heavy flamer on the floor. He holds on to the cat. He sprints into the command module. He picks up the blaster, the only weapon that he knows for sure will work. And then he takes, so that's 1, 2, and then 3. He starts running down this corridor. Does the creature grow? The creature grows. It is now in its final stage. We're now talking about like this gigantic 2.5 meter tall, carapaced, black, acid oozing monster ready to rip you apart with its multiple mouths and multiple sets of teeth. And it's just slithering around. It's not just one at this point. It is 5. So we're putting another one in here, and we're putting another creature in the back. Situation is dire. T-3 to self-destruct. The creatures move. Okay, down here. And in here. Ooh, oh, they're so close. What does this one do? Stays, and then moves out here. That was good. This one moves there, and then there. This one moves here, and then, oh, into something, steps out of the storage room right in front of Midnight, who's running down the corridor with his blaster and Jones in his other hand. And this one down here moves there and there. It's just protecting the shuttle, but this is the one it's all about. So right in front of Midnight, as he's running down toward the shuttle, as sirens are blaring, red lights are flashing, and the automated voice over the intercom system says T-3 to self-destruct. Right in front of him is another cat. It's not Mr. Jones. It's one of the lab cats, and it's just there, just looking completely scared, just pressing itself up against the wall as he just runs past it. Swordbender says, "Save the cat. I can only carry one cat. And it's either Jones or it's the lab cat. And Jones is Ellen's cat, Dr. Ellen's cat. So I'm gonna save Jones, man. I'm gonna save Jones." So Midnight just runs past Jones into the shuttle, and then in the shuttle, let's see, T-2 to self-destruct, then the creatures move. Let's see here, doesn't move, moves in there. This one moves here. This one moves here. And this one moves in here and stays. Okay, so now there is activity all around. There's this cat with his meowing after us longingly, suddenly realizing that, oh, we see where the cat runs. We need to see the cat. 5, it runs here and it stops. It has 1 move left. Come on, get in the shuttle, get in the shuttle. On a 4, 5, 6, it gets in the shuttle, get in the shuttle. But it's too afraid and it just runs into the storage, never to be seen again. Because what happens now? We cannot wait for the cat. Midnight, there isn't time. It's T-2, and he presses the button on the wall, and the shuttle door, they closes past we are T-1, and then he just presses the button that releases the shuttle into space, and as it drops down from the mothership Prometheus and shoots into space, it hasn't traveled very far before there is this sort of subsonic sound and this immense pressure that explodes Prometheus from the inside out, and space debris flying in all directions through empty, silent space. And we can just see shapes of these gigantic, beautiful, glistening alien creatures just tumbling silently through space as the explosion expands and contracts. And there, in the shuttle, sole survivor, Midnight, with Jones the cat, is resting, staring empty into space at this catastrophe behind him, not really fathoming what's going on. And he's just sitting there, and energy starts draining from his body, and there's just nothing really left for him. He cannot comprehend what just happened, and he doesn't even really know where they are or how to go home, and he'll have to project a course, and he's going over to the instrument boards, and he's still like 6 weeks away from the nearest floating space station, and he just needs to, tab in the coordinates, and he needs to get into that sleep module and just lie there and just go into a coma for 6 weeks before he's picked up. And he's going through all the motions of doing that. But just as he has put Jones into the sleeping module and he's kind of undressed himself and he's ready to step in to the module himself, we roll a die. 5. Oh, there are 5 creatures plus 1, which is 6. So there's again a 1 in 6 chance that an alien made it aboard the shuttle. So just as he's about to go into his sleep module, he just sees this black glistening carapace just slide between the panels at the other end of the room. And it slowly raises its head and hisses at him. There they stand. He's basically in his underwear. The cat is hissing and hiding, curling up in a corner of the sleep module, and he very, very slowly reaches back, closes his hand on his blaster, and he raises it up. And in the same moment that the alien jumps at him, he rolls the die, and he needs to roll a 1 to kill it and a 2 to fend it off. I'm gonna roll out here in the open so you can all follow. A 1 to kill, guys. It's a 6. The shot misfires, and the alien just jumps on him, and it tears him apart, and he is just a spray of blood in this room. But he has already punched in the coordinates for where the ship is going, and he had also, the last thing he does before the alien rips him apart is to slam down his hand on the button that closes the sleep module. So this glass pane, this like fortified glass, closes over the sleep module with Jones inside, and a gas is released that immediately makes the cat calm down and fall asleep. And it lies there, and the alien just settles in behind one of the panels again, and the shuttle, with Jones in the sleep module, with Midnight dead on the floor, and with the alien behind the panels, starts making its way towards the colony 6 weeks off. And this is where the Intruder ends for tonight. And this is, of course, one of multiple endings that you can have in this game. And as you can tell, it is a very cinematic game that allows you to recreate the Alien movie in whichever way, shape, or form that you would want it. And so Adventure says, what a finale. And yeah, what a finale. I mean, I think we see it again and again on the Hopeless stream, how these games, which seemingly just focus on randomness, they tend to cook up these scenarios because they provide the randomness and we as players provide the narrative. So we string everything together and we end up with these coherent narratives, which becomes just by nature cinematic, epic, fantastic, because we can create the story that ties together the different bits and parts of the game. And when you look at Intruder, it is of course a very bare bones game. It is a game, you can see it has simple graphics, it has simple counters, and it has these really simple, but I think effective mechanics. And what it's trying to do is really trying to adapt the movie to a game format. So how do you do that? Well, clearly the game here is informed by the movie. It's not like David Sestair, he came up with a game system and then he decided, oh, maybe it fits the Alien movie. No, this is built from watching this movie multiple times. I imagine him going to the same theater over and over, watching the movie, taking notes, and going home and designing at night after he has seen the movie. And I think what he gets right is that this sense of tension that sort of contracts and releases, and that is modeled in the game in the way that you are going around searching for the creature. Every time you find it, you have an encounter. Either you kill the creature kills you, or it escapes. And if the creature kills you, or if you kill the creature and there's just one creature, or there are more creatures, then the game contracts. You move back into the command module, you set everything up again, and you have to go out again. But now there's one person less because someone died. And also, one person has disappeared on their way back to the command module, throwing this extra sort of wrench into the machinery. And it creates sort of nice narrative beats, I feel, that you convene and reset the board. It's like you're playing multiple mini-games that get progressively harder. So the more mini-games you play, the harder it becomes. And then at the same time, there is this feeling that in the beginning of the game, everything can kill the alien. The easiest thing in the game would basically just be to get a blaster, find the little squid-like alien, and just kill it. Except because, again, we're playing an adaptation of the movie, and the movie says that the scientist, or Ash aboard the ship, he doesn't want to kill the alien. So they're going to do everything they do in their power to keep it alive and bring it back home. There's even a freezer here where you can also freeze the creature in the game. We didn't try to do that, but that's another thing you can do in the game. So because we are riffing off the movie, we just accept the premise that we cannot kill it when it's just a little creature, because we need it for purposes of science. And game mechanically, that's completely logical. Most people would just be like, why can't I just kill it? I have a gun, and I know. But again, we're putting ourselves in the position of the people aboard the ship who wants to protect the creature. So it's really a great way to build up tension and make sure that the game isn't too easy, so you don't just run out and kill off the creature and then it's game over. No, it allows you, usually you'll need a few encounters with the creature because it grows rather slowly before it actually grows into a size where you're allowed to kill it. And another rule you can play with, that some people play with, that I would also suggest playing with, is that you can never kill the creature before it has killed at least one crew member, because it kind of kills the tension. You need to have that one story beat where someone dies, you reconvene in the command module, and then you go out with a vengeance to hunt this thing down. And of course, what happened in our playthrough, which I think was, I think we had great moments. Like, I think we were really fortunate in the way things panned out. But then again, I played this game multiple times and I seem to always be fortunate. So I don't really believe in luck anymore. I think it's just the nature of the beast that we as storytelling human game players, we create fantastic narratives just give me the bits and pieces and I'll have a narrative. I mean, we had the moment where Dr. Baxter was just all smiles after having put this creature to sleep and put it in the cage, and then it just woke up and it just tore open those iron bars and escaped out. It's a great moment. We had horrible deaths. We had the moment where where they think they have killed the creature down the corridor with the blaster. They're going back, like ready to open the champagne and celebrate on the bridge, and then suddenly Midnight comes running and said there is a second creature, and then there's more, and suddenly they're completely surrounded, and Midnight has to shoot his way out. He grabs up Jones, gets into the shuttle at the end, thinks he's safe. One of the aliens have, of course, made it aboard the shuttle. This is not a given, it's something you roll for. In this game, it was a given because we had the maximum number of clones on board, so one of them would for sure make it into the shuttle. If we had 2 shuttles activating, there would be like a slightly lesser chance that there would also be an alien on the other shuttle. But they get in there, and the alien is there. He shoots his blaster. It doesn't work. I feel like I should have let him keep the flamer, so he should have had that moment in the shuttle where he shoots off his flamer and he realizes that the thing he was just working so hard to create has absolutely no effect. Then he's torn to shreds, and then it's just the shuttle coming back. And just imagine when the shuttle comes back to the colony 6 weeks later. There's no one aboard except just this mangled corpse. They have no idea what happened. It looks completely brutal. And then there's this cat sitting inside the sleeping bay. And the creature, of course, at this point is nowhere to be seen. It's hiding in the ventilation or something. And it's inside this garage, and they're trying to find out what happened. They're getting out the cat. They're looking at the transmissions, the photo that's been recorded. And slowly, as they're going through this material, they're realizing that something was really, really wrong on the Prometheus. And that's, of course, the moment that you hear a scream in the distance and a maintenance worker is torn apart somewhere, and the creature is loose on the colony, and a new game can begin. So this is how you adapted the Alien movie to a game in 1980 without ever mentioning the name Alien, because of course that would be copyrighted, but this is a very thinly disguised version. As you can see, we have everything there. We have the cat, we have the self-destruct mechanism that can only be stopped for the first half of it. We have the scene, the way it works, the panic moments, the reconvening, everything that you would want. So again, as I've said many times before, these early games, they try out different things. They are not afraid to make games that are unfair. They're not afraid to make weird little exceptional rules if it helps create a stronger narrative. And this game is not the worst offender at all. It does it to some extent, but I love it. I love that games are brave and that they try to be more than systems, that they try to be immersive experiences, that they try to tell narratives, that they dare to mean something, and that they're not just abstract puzzles. Because there are many games, and also Alien games that have been made after Intruder, which feels more like playing abstract puzzles. There are also great games in there. Shout out to Space Hulk Death Angel, one of my favorite solitaire games, which I also hope to be playing on stream. But there is a risk that when you balance things and you make everything about icons and moving cubes around, that things become so abstract that you lose the feel of it. But as you can see here, when you play this, every time you do something, you're so immersed in it that of course, you can play this optimally. You could take all your crew members, you could pile them together in one room, you can give them all the possible weapons, and every time they encountered the creature, they could do all sorts of stuff with it. There is a rule that only 3 crew members can act against a creature every time they encounter it, but still, you can move around. If you play with a full team of 9 crew members, you could have like 3 crews of 3 crew members each. They could each have one of the different kinds of weapons, and you would just be like a mean killing machine going around, and it would be absolutely no fun, right? But to me, the whole backstory, the whole idea that no one knows what's going on in the beginning of the game, the fact that you cannot kill the creature in the beginning, all these things sort of lend themselves to leaning into the narrative of the game and playing it more in experiential mode, where you say, oh, well, he's just, I think there's a noise down there, let's go check it out. And of course, game mechanically, this is not a great thing to do, but the game mechanics actually, they encourage you to do it, and they also reward you for doing it, because that's when you get the best narratives, is when you play like that. Again, up in the maintenance where you can construct the flame or you can construct the prod, if we think of the movie, this is exactly what happens in the movie. First, they construct an electrical prod, and it doesn't really have the desired effect, and then they construct the flamethrower, which mysteriously Ripley never uses, even though she has an encounter with the alien at the very end of the movie where she has the flamethrower and the alien is right in front of her, but she doesn't fire off her flame and she just runs off. But so all these things are coded into it, and it's very easy to start creating a movie in your own head while you play this game. And I think it does it quite fantastically, and I think we got a really good story, and I'm really happy that this game exists. I guess I should say that Intruder also had a second edition, and the second edition was kind of just an updated version of the first edition. It came out in 2013. It's called Hidden Intruder. So if you know Hidden Intruder, but you don't know Intruder, they're more or less the same game. And again, it's Denis Astaire who's the designer. So if you have difficulties finding Intruder, it may be easier to find Hidden Intruder, though I am hearing that Hidden Intruder is actually also super difficult to find. But hopefully, you'll be able to find one of them, and if nothing else, this is very easily done as a print and play game. You can pretty easily stick this thing together by itself. There's not much more to it than what you're seeing right here on the screen right now. And just as we have been playing a lot of Ares Magazine games on the stream, I also hope to be playing more micro games in the future, both from Task Force games, but also for metagaming concepts. I have several lined up. So, you know, we have streams coming out of our ears going forward, but yeah, it's just all about time and energy and the right mood and the need of the evening and all these kind of things. So when the Hopeless stars align, we will be back on the Hopeless stream with more obscure retro gaming for you. We will be exploring, we explore old games, we explore new games, we explore everything that looks interesting to us, everything that's willing to risk balanced and fair and optimized gameplay for a good story. So as always, here on the Hopeless stream, I will bid you a good night, and remember to stop winning, start losing, and play the story.